Hello, how are you all? I hope you're doing well and having a wonderful Thursday. I am not going to be live today, but I will be live again tomorrow at 2 different times. I'll be live at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I will be live again at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's tomorrow, June 2nd, Thursday, 2022. Today, I want to talk again about swimmer Lia Thomas. So we've talked about Lia in the past and what's happening at UPenn. And just yesterday, a lot of new insight has come out regarding Lia. And Lia actually did an interview on Good Morning America. Lia Thomas used to be Will Thomas, actually swam on the men's swim team at the University of Pennsylvania, I believe for 3 years, 2 at least, 3 at the most. Did a year of testosterone suppressant, which is within the guidelines of the NCAA, and was able to join the women's swim team as Lia. And on the women's swim team, a lot of people immediately raised concerns about the fairness factor. Lia has grown up a male, has gone through male puberty, even trained as a male on the swim team. Also, it's really interesting, the time that Lia was on the men's swim team, Lia actually was ranked, I believe, like 460 something. Now on the women's swim team, obviously Lia is ranked quite higher and is actually slashing women's records. So much concern has been had over the fairness of this. I think you all know where I stand. I think it's always important to say that I support anyone, however they want to live their life or identify. Life is short. Do make yourself happy. The question about this is fairness, and also the way that the school and the NCAA has handled this situation regarding the other girls on the swim team, in my opinion, is quite disturbing, and we'll get into that. But first, let's look at a clip of this interview with Lia on Good Morning America that aired, I believe, yesterday.
Jumped in the rankings between the men's and the women's team.
And there are some who look at the data and suggest that you're enjoying a competitive advantage. What do you say to that?
There's a lot of factors that go into a race and how well you do. And the biggest change for me is that I'm happy. And sophomore year, where I had my best times competing with the men, I was miserable. And so having that be lifted is incredibly relieving and allows me to put my all into training, into racing. Trans people don't transition for
The framing. Listen to how they framed the question, or how she framed the question. Your critics. No, these aren't critics. This is almost everybody saying this is not fair. And the fairness isn't a critique, it's actual science. And we know that there is a physical disadvantage that these girls have being on the same team as Lia. And actually, just yesterday, and this originated in the New York Times, 2 medical doctors have gone on record confirming that trans swimmer Lia Thomas, who previously competed for 3 years as a man at the University of Pennsylvania, gained an unfair advantage when allowed to compete against biological females despite taking testosterone suppressants. There are social aspects to sport, but physiology and biology underpin it, said Dr. Michael Joyner, a physician at the Mayo Clinic. Testosterone suppressant is the 800-pound gorilla. As CBN News reported, NCAA rules require at least 1 year of testosterone suppression treatment in order to compete in women's events. Thomas, who came out as transgender in 2019, has undergone 2 years. Okay, I'm corrected. 2 years. 2 years of testosterone suppressant and began swimming on the women's UPenn team at the start of her senior year. But peer-reviewed studies have confirmed that even with this treatment, athletes with biologically male DNA and physiology still have an unfair advantage when competing against biological women. Lia Thomas is the manifestation of the scientific evidence. The reduction in testosterone did not remove her biological advantage. Harvard University lecturer, who's also the co-director of undergraduate studies in human evolutionary biology at the university, also told the newspaper that LGBT advocates mistakenly blend gender identity with biological sex. Activists conflate and gender in a way that is really confusing. There is a large performance gap between a healthy, normal population of males and females, and that is driven by testosterone. It goes on to say that even years of testosterone suppressant would still put Lia at a biological advantage than the biological women. And I didn't play this clip of the Good Morning America interview, but this is what Lia said in a different part of the interview. I intend to keep swimming. It's been a goal of mine to swim at Olympic trials for a very long time, and I would love to see this through. There are many individuals who are trans who clearly see that this is incredibly unfair, and they say, I would never do that, and I don't condone that. And this is not how the trans community feels as a whole, because anyone that comes out and says, hey, this is unfair, you are automatically labeled a phobic. When questioned about the critiques and when questioned about whether this is unfair or not, Lia completely diverts and says, now I am happy. When I was swimming with the male team, I wasn't happy. Now I am happy. Well, I can understand why you're a lot happier. Now you are breaking records, you're dominating. Your dreams of getting to the Olympic trials are a lot more likely, because as a male swimmer, Will was pretty average. That dream probably would not have happened. The answer to the question on fairness was me, total disregard for any of the women or their feelings on that team. And also, this could be a whole nother video, but in my opinion, that right there is, in a nutshell, everything that is wrong with our society. It is me. This is where I lose my crap. This whole thing is outrageous enough. But this, the gaslighting to the other girls on the swim team. So this came out in the Daily Wire. I believe this was an interview that Matt Walsh did. He has a movie coming out today, a documentary that's going to be on the Daily Wire. It's called What is a Woman? And he actually interviewed one of the members of the swim. And this is what she told him. And she came out anonymously because, well, you'll see why. The anonymous athlete explained that even basic concerns about the locker room were not brought up. If they were, she said, it was clear that you'd be smeared as a phobic. Notably, Thomas still has his penis and has not had surgery to remove it and dates females, according to teammates. If you even brought up concerns about it, you were called a phobic. If you bring up the fact that Lia's swimming might not be fair, you're immediately shut down and called a hateful person or a phobic. Walsh pressed. But there's never any conversation. The coach didn't sit down with everyone and acknowledge what everyone is upset about. She goes on to say, so Penn actually brought in people high up in the athletics department to talk to us, like brought in some people from LGBTQ Center. They brought in someone from psychological services, the swimmer stated. So if you're upset, you need some support of what's happening to you, so you need psychological help. The higher-ups told the swimmers that in uncertain terms, Lia's swimming is non-negotiable. They made it pretty clear if you speak up about it, your life will be over in some way. You'll be blasted all over the internet as phobic. You'll never get a job. So if you are a female swimmer on the team and you're like, this doesn't seem fair, you'll just be referred to a psychologist. They'll help you out. You're the one with the problem. You're the one that needs help. That is exactly what gaslighting is. So when these girls were uncomfortable in the locker room because there's penis, excuse me, you need to see a psychologist. When they're like, hey, something isn't fair, you need to see a psychologist. So these girls were silenced and gaslit. Not only are they dealing with something that is incredibly unfair on their team, not only do they have to be in the locker room with this person, which, is that legal to tell a girl that she, holy cow. If they're upset about it, they're the ones with the problem and they're the ones that need help and they need to sit down and shut up and take it. Oh my gosh. Wasn't it just 3 years ago? It was all about misogyny and the patriarchy and believe all women, #MeToo, time's up. And now, excuse me, I don't feel comfortable in the locker room. Let me get the psychologist. It's like a horror film. My mother knew that I was at university on a team and there was a penis in the locker room and my teachers did nothing about it. She would have driven across state line. You think you know what a Karen is? You have not met my mom when someone messes with her daughters. Imagine being a young girl at this university and all of these adults that are supposed to have your back and are supposed to be shaping you into a healthy young woman are actively gaslighting you and silencing you in this manner when your concerns are actually right, scientifically proven, supported by most people. At the end of the day, it all goes back to the rules with the NCAA. This is all within their rules. So will they ultimately change them? I don't know. And I support anyone living however they want to live. I said that at the beginning. Do you be happy? And that goes for all of us. I hope that Lia Thomas lives a long and healthy and happy life. I hope that for everyone. All of us as people living in this world have a moral responsibility to do what's fair and just and right. And we also trust that our institutions will protect that. But in this instance, that didn't happen. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about everything, and I'll see you later. Bye.